process of reconciliation with successful living. I've done 3 presentations, and hopefully you'll have a chance to check them out. One is called The Time Paradox. Some tips on helping you not lose track of time. We'll also talk about in the second installment, career stallers, things that you want to avoid in order to make sure that you have a successful career. And we'll wrap it up with don't blame it on the game. And so how do you recover when things go sideways in your career? So hope to see you there and enjoy the presentations, and looking forward to any questions you may have.
Happy day to you. Thank you for joining us. We're here at the Greenville campus, 1427 Suite E Launch Road. Thank all of you, the upstate, those countries that are in Africa, and also those that are in Asia. We are thankful for you, and of course to the upstate. And I gave a shout out before to Spartanburg. And the reason I say that is because the numbers in Spartanburg and Gaffney and Clinton has risen. And I want to say to you real quick, those of you that are in Malden, I need your numbers to go up, because Successful Living was born in Malden's library. So we started there back in 2014. So I'd like for the Malden and Simpsonville area to chime in and get with us. I am happy for you today. We have Daniel O'Neill Cohen with us. He's going to give us the, I think it's the second phase about career stallers. And the reason for this is I think that every person besides ministry needs something to help them balance the rest of their life. So at this time, we're going to turn it over to Daniel O'Neill Cohen.
Thank you. Career stallers. So I'm going to talk about 3 things we must avoid doing in order to have a successful career. The first thing that we need to avoid is failing to keep up with current events in your line of work. I wrote this quote when I was, I think, long time ago, when I was 23. I was sitting at my desk, and I was in the midst of a big change within the organization. The first time I was in a real big change within the organization, and it really taught me a lot as I watched what was happening in this department. I was in what they call diagnostic engineering, and my job was as a diagnostic engineering technician was to build prototype equipment before we would put it into mass production. So, and there was a big change going on in the organization, and after a lot of changes that were made, I found myself being the last person in my department. And I got moved to another department. And I was like, what just happened here? Now let me give you a little history before that. There was a lot of new technology that was introduced. A lot of my peers at the time who had a lot more experience than me, I was the new person on the block, didn't touch the new technology. At the time, it was the first time the PCs were put in the work world. We weren't doing things, engineering and things by pen and paper anymore. Things were speeding up. Everything had to go into this thing called a computer. Yeah, that's a long time ago. But what I noticed with my peers is nobody really wanted to adapt to the new technology and the new changes. And so as time passed and things moved on, our department became obsolete. And so I wrote this down as I was going into my new job, and it's something I've always reflected on, and it's something that I come back to often. And here's my quote to myself: dissatisfaction is a base for progress. Once you become satisfied, you become obsolete. Repeat that again. Dissatisfaction is a base for progress. Once you become satisfied, you become obsolete. So failing to keep up with current technology, current understandings, you will become obsolete. And so we should be dissatisfied with the status quo and continue to push through and learn everything that you can in your organization. In your organization, it could be outside of work, it could be work, it could be your sorority, it could be your fraternity, it could be an organization. But you gotta stay current. And so some of the things that, from a work perspective, is really understanding your company's culture, because company cultures will change. You know, there's these mergers and acquisitions that happen. Companies will come in and buy another company. All of a sudden, the company culture that becomes out the door. There's a new company culture that comes in, and you have to adapt to the new culture. I've seen individuals not adapt. They become obsolete. And if you become obsolete, you really don't add value to any organization. So failing to really understand the changing company culture, it could be a department culture. You could have a new leader over the department. It could be a new leader over your facility. It could be a new leader over a division. But when those changes happen, there's a little movement within that group's culture. But when the big ones happen, through mergers and acquisitions, there are major shifts. And you have to be prepared to shift and understand that company culture. The second point is easy to think about because we see it all the time, and it's failing to really keep up with technology. I'll tell you a little story. Before I fell in love with I'm an iPhone person. I used to have a BlackBerry.
Boo.
Yeah, I used to have a BlackBerry. BlackBerry man is what I called myself.
Loved it.
BlackBerry. And I saw people swiping left, swiping and swiping. I said, what are they doing? Swiping. And so finally, I switched and I think it was an iPhone. My first iPhone was an iPhone 4S. And it was the small iPhone. It was really nice and I loved it. And I kept that iPhone for a very, very long time. The technology had passed by, and it was really hard to even get the ISO updates on my phone because it was so becoming obsolete. Now, when the wake up moment for me, it was when I think it was one of my nephews, when he was younger, he looked at me and says, Uncle Dan, why is your phone so small? Because he was comparing my phone to the iPhone 8s and 9s that were out, and they were huge. Mm-hmm. I mean, and my little 4S, so he just knew just by the size of my phone, something wasn't quite right. And so I said, oh, okay, I'm failing to keep up with technology. Another story about keeping up with technology, whenever I coach different individuals, I always kept a lot of hard copy books in my office, and I would recommend certain books to different leaders that I'm coaching. And this one case, I was coaching this young up-and-coming HR colleague of mine, and I gave her this book. At the time, I was promoting this book called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. I don't believe it in now, but what got you here won't get you there. It was about working on the things that that are not your strengths will get you forward. And I have a reverse thinking on that. I think that you should work on your strengths to get you there. And so I gave her the book. I slid it across the desk at the end of our coaching session. And she says, oh, I don't need it, Dan. I'll just order it on my Kindle. And I felt like, am I keeping up with technology? Nobody taking hard copies anymore. Everything online. And so then I said, let me step my game up, and as I'm coaching, let me just see what type of medium. And this individual was a millennial, you know, and they were time to technology, and I'm like, whoa, I need to even coaching and how I offer materials to now needs to be different. And so I joined the world of reading books online and all of this stuff, and I'm just fascinated with how you can get information. You don't always have to go get a hard copy. Another thing, failing to keep up with your certifications or get your certification. Certification could be certification in something that's like welding. It could be, when I talk about certifications, could be something like getting your degrees, the technical certifications. Once you get them, you want to maintain them and keep them as technology, moves on. So you definitely want to stay current there. And the fourth piece under the keeping current in your line of work is making sure that you understand all the new stuff that's out there in your field. Because your field will change, and now it's going to change rapidly. And technology is driving the changes within whatever field you're in. And you have to really understand how the new learnings that you need to be aware of in order to adapt to those changes. Now, I'm in HR, and you would say, okay, well, Dan, what does that, what's out there that's changing the world in HR? Well, you may have heard of this little thing called AI, artificial intelligence. Or you may have heard of this little thing called, chatbots and all of these things. All of this stuff is changing the way HR is done. And so you really need to know how those things are shaping the future of talent acquisition, the future of learning and development, the future of how HR is done in this day and time. When I entered into the workforce, for example, it wasn't even called HR. It was called personnel.
That's old.
It's real old. Personnel.
That's old.
Take it to personnel. Yeah. Human resources.
Yeah.
What's the next, thing going to be? But you have to really keep up. The second point for career stallers is failing to protect your image. Now, what I mean by image is brand, and I call this out the image. And there are two other components that I could talk about at a later date. There's performance, there's image, and there's exposure. I'm talking about image right now. And image is your brand. It's your calling card. And so if you don't protect that, then you can stall your career. Now, here's an example. Social media. And if you're out there on social media and you put all your business on social media, there's somebody watching that, and that could be affecting your brand. And you don't want that to be someone of importance that has a decision, that's a decision maker or mover that has something to do with your career. Because, how we move, not only within work or within your organization or within your church, how you move inside, equally as important as how you move outside, because it's you're still a brand, and you're going to be tied to that brand, so you have to protect it. And social media is probably one of the easiest ways now that I've seen that could destroy your brand. So much so, many organizations have what they call a social media policy. And the social media policy, if you are given a company phone or a company iPad or a company computer, and you are a representative of the company, and you have, let's say, a LinkedIn profile, people know you're linked to that company, and if you go out and make some kind of statement, derogatory statement towards a group or anything, hate speech, anything, then all of a sudden that's a reflection on that organization. So those policies are in place to protect the company's brand. And so they don't want you out there running amok or just doing stuff to hurt their brand. You have to look at it the same way with your own personal brand. How do I protect my brand? And so I'm careful about what I put on my Facebook. I'm careful about who I let into my Facebook world. Careful about what I put out on LinkedIn. I never did join, I had a Twitter account, but I never did tweet. Twitter got a lot of folks in trouble.
Yes.
But now I have threads.
Okay.
And I haven't got up the courage to even put a thread out yet. Now, I know I'm not going to say or do anything that I can't recover from, but it's just something about people getting in a moment.
Yes.
And they put something out on Facebook.
Yes.
And I'm like, why would they put that out there? Because it's out there. It's out there for the ages.
It's in their feelings.
Yes, yes. And some companies have gone as far as looking at people's social media and stuff before they made a decision of hiring.
Right.
Because they want to see what type of person you really are. And yeah, those things, social media is very important when it comes to, one, improving your brand, but also it has the flip side to that. It could hurt your brand. Now, this next piece is very tough because I'm not talking about people have to change the way they look. I'm talking about personal appearance.
Okay.
You know what successful people within your organization, how they dress, how they carry themselves, and if you want to ascend to those types of positions, you have a blueprint right there in front of you. Most people aren't saying that you can't have a beard or you can't wear your hair a certain way. There's I think we've kind of gotten past that.
Right.
If you want to have braids, or have them. I mean, it's nothing about your makeup from an ethnicity perspective, but physical appearance is making sure you look the part that you want to really ascend into and be there. For example, if you want to be a leader within the organization, or you want to be the pastor of the church, I don't think the congregation would want you coming up with a wrinkled shirt and
Speedos.
and Speedos on and maybe Crocs. You want to look the part.
Yes.
And so and that's the same with any role. We're not saying that you have to change your personality, but you want to look the part. The third piece that could really affect a person's image is integrity. And so integrity really, gets to the core of who you are, and you can lose a great image if people feel that you don't have integrity. Stand up and for something, mean it, be consistent, and you create more followership when you are just not someone that just goes to the wind on anything. You stand firm in your beliefs, and you go and just hold fast and have integrity, and that will carry you a long way from a image perspective. And the last point I want to make here under image is trustworthy, being trustworthy. And to trust really comes down, what it comes down to is the propensity for someone to take a risk. If someone's going to trust you, it really comes down to the propensity to take a risk. If in the order to get to that place where someone trusts you, they have to, one, know that you have integrity. Two, they know that you're benevolent, that you really care about people, you care about them, you care about things, and you are good at what you do. You're good at what you do. If those three things happen, people will trust you. Now, for example, you may say, I trust you, Dan. Okay, yeah. Or you trust me? Okay, yeah. All right. I feel you care about me. I've seen you operate. You show great integrity and stuff, and I think you're good at what you do, Dad. Oh, appreciate it. As my coach, and it's not that okay. Hey, I hear you have to have surgery next week. You trust me? I'll do that surgery on you. All of a sudden, that trust is going out the door. So whoa. Well, I trust you as my coach, Dan, but I didn't know you were a surgeon. No, but you trust me, right? No. Now, they may say that I still have integrity. Maybe if I'm trying to play a doctor or not, maybe that integrity goes out the door. But they may say, well, you still care about me, but you're not good at surgery, Dan. You're not good at what you do. And so all of a sudden, that trust will go away. I mean, you may trust someone, but if you know they're not an airline pilot, will you get on that plane? No. And so trust is the propensity to take a risk. And I say all of this is because when you think about your brand and you think about those opportunities, somebody has taken a chance on you the very first time that you got a promotion. I don't care if you were, a bag person, and now all of a sudden you're over here and you're in the meat department now. That's a promotion. Somebody saw something in you and they trusted. They took a risk. I like this person. They have integrity. They come to work all the time, and they're good at that job. I'm going to train them, and they should be probably good at this job too. And all of a sudden, they move. And those bigger moves happen all throughout our career. When you become the first time you become a manager, people love. I want to be a manager. I want to be a manager. I want to be a people leader. I said, okay. There comes a lot of responsibility leading people. Because you got all these personalities now that you got to bring together and get things done. But they want to be a people leader. Okay, that's fine. But somebody took a chance for them to have that first job. And as they moved up their career, and it goes, and it never stops. There's somebody always at a higher level. Even if you're the CEO, the board of directors, we're going to take a chance. The stakes are higher. But there's always someone that has the propensity to take a risk. And so, but they have to know that you care, benevolent. You have to have integrity, and you have to be good at what you do in order for those things to come together. And so protect your brand. Failing to do so is like, well, it's a career stall. The third point and final point for here is failing to be a good team player or a good leader. Whether we are directing and leading others and coaching others, or whether we're on the side of being on the team. And I have questions I ask here is, would you work for yourself? Think about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you work for yourself? I mean, so we've all seen good leaders, good supervisors, good managers, and we've seen some bad ones and experienced some bad ones. But if you ask them, would you work for you? I mean, they probably wouldn't treat themselves that way, but why would you treat a teammate that way? Why would you treat someone that works for you that way? I believe in servant leadership myself.
Right.
I found that is the most powerful way to lead others, is to utilize your gifts and skills to bring the best out in others. Put others before you and show empathy and show that you care tends to work out a lot better than I'm the leader, I'm the boss, and I'm going to bark and tell you what to do. And so my first question is, would you work for you? The second question I would ask that person is, how would your coworkers describe you? Are you the dependable one, or are you the one that's always late, or never coming back from break on time, or never getting your work done, or if somebody's always got to pull your load? How your coworkers will describe you says a lot. And another question is, what are you known for? If you really are having success, you're going to be known for something. You're known for the person that the leader always comes to you when something needs to be done or a video needs to be made.
Yeah.
You're the person that's always called upon. Why should someone take a chance on you? Remember, that's the propensity to take a risk. So when you're thinking about being a good team player, what it comes down to, take a chance on me. This is why you should take a chance on me. Thank you.
Well, and I want to say this, and to his point, with leadership is all the things they should all equate to ministry. And many times we do things based on our feelings and emotions, and it's not healthy for the body of Christ. It's like me trying to teach his 30 years of HR. This is why the body of Christ has to open up to the next level, because one person, one pastor, cannot feed all the multiple personalities that's within the flock. You have people who have different skill sets, and so different skill sets sometimes need different voices. So I thank him for coming in and sharing his 30 years of knowledge in HR, how it can build your life and what you need to do in your own personal career, but also how it affects and how we should work in the body of Christ. We'll see you soon.